Yeah, it happened. We have a spell of no wind here in Exmouth. So what better time than now to do some maintenance on your equipment? So this video is about line tuning. Over to you, Tom.
Okay guys, I'm going to run you through how we tune a bar, so follow me. First things first, I'm just going to lay the lines out like we normally would. We want to make sure they're all laying out equally. So as you would, you're going to find a fixed point. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm going to start right here, just like we would with our kite. I'll get fucking sunburnt for you guys. Look, no glasses, sun glare, no hat. Okay, so we're going to lay these lines down. Now I'm going to use this as a good opportunity to actually check the lines at the same time. We're here about line tuning, but why not? We're going to run up them. I'm going to take the two outside lines and I'm going to put them between my fingers, and as I'm going up these lines, if I hold these nice and tight, any nicks, cuts or knots will become quite clear as I run up these lines. So, okay, check this one out here, this one out here. Now I'm going to go back and do exactly the same thing with the two center lines. Okay, I'm going to get these two lines, same thing again. Nice bit of pressure between the fingers, that'll let me know if there's any issues in that line. Most knots will happen because when you've got your bar, when you've got your lines wrapped up, you might have this loose around the end. So this can wrap around itself and accidentally go in there. Yeah. If you don't notice that, that's fine now, you pull it out. But in a session, if you get tension in that, it's all over. And you know, the problem is if you get a knot in the line, it makes the line weaker. You can get that knot out by like squeezing it, chewing it, whatever, but that's also going to make the line weaker. So the ideal thing is not to get knots in there. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to connect all four lines to one fixed point. Now it's quite important that these are equal. What I've got here is just basically a piece of rope that I'm going to tie around a pole, and then the lines will slide onto here. So at any point that I pull these lines from, they will be at an equal point here. Joy. So you see what will happen now when we go down the other end, when I pull on the bar, these are all exactly in the same spot here, so it's accurately measured like that. All right, follow me. Now hopefully we don't embarrass ourselves with an out of tune ozone school bar. I doubt it very much, but we'll probably cut it out if it does, so you'll never hear this anyway. First things first, when I get to my bar, what we're going to do to check this trim, to check the line trim, we're going to make sure that our depower trim is all the way out, so fully powered. You don't want any of this in the cleat, really important. Now, just so you know, all line lengths, or not all of them actually, but most manufacturers use equal line lengths. That's the point of this. Now, always check with your manufacturer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my bar and I'm going to pull it back towards the chicken loop here. Now, what we should see at this point is just a little bit of space. All these lines are under tension, just a little bit of space between the chicken loop and the bar. But actually, as I look down, the bar should be exactly straight. That's key. What I don't want to be seeing at this point is something like this, because if I do and all lines are tight, it means I've absolutely got a problem somewhere. Now, this bar is perfectly tuned right now, thank God. So if it wasn't though, we can easily make adjustments with this. Now, 99% of the times, it will be outside lines. Center line adjustment is a little bit trickier, it involves pigtails, but I've actually never really had that issue. It's always these outside lines. So what we're gonna do to adjust the outside lines is find out on this particular bar where the adjustment point is. Now, because I know this bar very well, I know that just under the floater or relaunch handle here, I can pull this line out, and then I can actually adjust this here. So if I was to change this knot to here, it would make it longer. If I change it here, it would make it shorter. In this case, we don't need to do either, so I'm not going to do it. But just so you know, that is where that point is on the ozone bar. Perfect, there we go. Perfectly tuned bar. Okay guys, so here's another example of bar. We won't drop anyone's name as to whose bar this is, but it's a very small bar for a local rider, so that's all we're going to say there. What I'll show you now is we've noticed here that as I pull back on these lines, you'll see that this bar is really wonky. So this line here is actually much longer, so the right line has stretched here. You can see it. It's sort of butting up perfectly to the chicken loop, but we've got a massive angle across this bar. Now, this is really shit because at this point, if I'm flying this kite it's going to be totally out of balance. So as this kite sits at 12 o'clock, because this line is shorter, it's going to want to constantly fly over to the left. It's not going to want to sit on the water. If I'm practicing any kind of trick where I need to keep the kite stable, it's just going to be absolutely horrible. So the owner of this bar will thank us for getting it right for him. Maybe even getting back on the water in a little bit quicker. All right, so here we go. You see all that? Now we're going to look at how we adjust this. So this is a totally different adjustment system to what we've just done. Now I had a little bit of a play around with it earlier because it's a little bit confusing. We have a clip here that should let's take that. I don't know if that has to come off, but we might take it off anyway. Oh, okay, that's the one. Okay, so what's happening here is this is a slightly different system, a little bit over engineered in my opinion. So just double check. What we're going to do now, just to double check, we'll make sure we're doing it the right way. So we actually have to make this red line longer. So you'll see here behind this bar, just like the others, there's a series of knots. We're just going to pull that out there and then put the next knot behind here. Make sure that pushes in so it won't slip out. Oh my God.
Takes a long time.
I mean, I like it. Yeah, just get an ozone one, it'd be better. Okay. On she goes. Now, here comes the magic. Have a look at that now. Absolutely perfectly trimmed. And there you go. Bar tuned. Now that would be giving anyone a hard time on the water. So guys, there's your example. Get out there, get into it, get your bars tuned. You know, there's no wind around for the few days, so get into it. Woo.